All right, so today we're going to talk about the 5-minute pre-bed sequence that can help you to deal with the sleeplessness, right? So before I go into the practicality of it, because I feel like practical solutions are really important, and having something that you can do as a triage measure is something that often will get you from where you are to a place where you're ready to do deeper work, where you say, oh, now I want to have a practice that's this or that and the other thing. And often when you're not in a relatively good place, it's hard to pick up a new habit and to say, I want to do something and then actually follow through. So there are 3 things we're going to do in this sequence. And the reason that there are 3 things, as you know, I am big on accessing different parts of yourself, working with your spiritual self, your mental self, and of course your body, right? Because all 3 have to be on the same page for this all to work out. And what happens in our normal everyday life is that we tend to let the body run the show, where the body needs to sleep or the body needs to go to the bathroom, and we run off to go to the bathroom, and we don't spend a lot of time in mental control of the body. We spend a lot of time in our mind, don't get me wrong, but not in the sort of on purpose saying to the mind, I want you to send out instructions that tell my body to do this, and then experience the this. And that process, mastering that process, is really important to being able to make the connection between the mind, the body, and the spirit. So when you can connect with the spirit, when you're in your self that is the eternal self, or there are thousands of ways that it is described, right? But I'm going to call it something bigger than the you that's walking around in the world. Sometimes I'll call it the all in all, or sometimes I'll call it all that is. But in reality, I change those words a lot because I don't want this work to be exclusive. I don't want people to feel like I'm not talking about what they're experiencing. So lots of times it's good to just say, if you've got a word for that, you substitute that word for that when I talk about it. Often I'll just say spirit. So being able to connect to spirit, to take a break from your mind and body, is what we do when we sleep. So how do we do that, right? How do we let go of the brain and the body and say, okay, you guys are fine on your own. You got this. I'm going upstairs. I got something to do. I got to relax, right? So the first piece of this sequence is to address your nervous system, so that you drop into a different relationship with your body. And you do that section when I'll show you the exact steps in a few minutes, but let's kind of walk through it. You do that section really for only 30 seconds on each side. Okay, so it's a two-sided thing. And something shifts in your nervous system where you should now feel very different than you did only 1 minute ago, right? So, and then you're going to make sure you're laying down, which you could be for the first part as well, but then you're going to lay down and you're going to tune in to the body. Now, this seems counterintuitive, right? I just said we need to sort of let go of the body and drift off into sleep. But in reality, tuning into the body is something we very rarely do in our day to day. We instead ignore the body, right? You got a pain over here and you go like, oh, I wish that just would stop. I don't know what the problem is. Why does that hurt? I don't know. What a weird body. Isn't aging weird? You know, all those things that you say to yourself, right? But in fact, if we spend a little attention with our body, a couple of things happen. First of all, where attention goes, energy flows, right? So we are literally giving energy to our physical body. We're giving our spiritual energy, our mental energy to our physical body. So this is really important because the body is laying down going, I'm exhausted, I'm out of energy. So you feed that energy just before you're going to go off to sleep. The second thing about that's really important is this concept. So let me back up just a little step. So it's hard because I don't know exactly where everybody is. I just want to sort of go through that process of consciousness. So consciousness is something we think of as what we have. We might even think of it as something that a rabbit has or a squirrel has, right? We might even think of it as something that a plant has. But in fact, consciousness, if we define it as that which keeps you alive, right, that ability to connect, is present in every single cell of the body. So every single cell has a makeup and is making choices about what genes it turns on, what genes it turns off, where it travels in the body, right? It's making these choices, obviously not in the same way that we make choices, but cellular consciousness in this scenario is very important. Now, there is a cellular biologist named Bruce Lipton who did a lot of work on epigenetics and really coined the phrase. And, when we look at life in that way, where the cell is making choices based on its surroundings, then we say, okay, we got to change the surroundings, right? We've got to do something with those surroundings. So that interstitial fluid is really important. The physical surroundings of the cells, very important. This is what we're going to do in those 3 minutes by giving our attention to our body. It's only 3 minutes. It's not a long time. But I find that most people have profound shifts in their body during that time. So you'll notice tingling in your body. You'll notice that you feel bigger than you used to feel. You feel bigger than your skin, that you can notice the energy that's just outside the body, all of that. So that's the next 3 minutes of that sequence. And the last minute, we're going to take all of that focus that we have made disperse on the body, and we're going to bring it up into the center of the brain. So it's really kind of, if you could draw a line between the lower back of your brain and the front of your brain there, in the center of your brain, you're going to just see if you can focus on that spot. There's a gland there that does a thing, which we don't have to get into. We could get into, but we don't have to get into, okay? And that gland sends instructions to the next gland, if it's activated, that send the instructions for all of the chemicals to go into the body that will help you to sleep. So this is a very gentle approach that we're taking. We're not doing this major activation because you want to reach for sleep in this moment. You want to reach for calmness. So rather than other times that we might actually try to activate that pineal gland, we're going to just gently put our attention on it. And we only do that for about 30 seconds. And then we're going to move our attention up to the top of the head for 30 seconds. You can even go up here if you want to. And yeah, exactly. It's so nice, right? And then we're going to drift away and see how you feel about the drifting. Now, the brain is going to want to get in on this action. So there's a little bit of work you have to be willing to do. And it really is about willingness and allowing rather than forcing, making, deliberateness, right? It's about willingness and allowing your brain to be part of what drifts away. Because the brain wants to get in on this and be like, well, let me give you a report about what's going on. I felt all of these things in the body. You should write them down, You should really get up and write them down right now because otherwise you'll forget. And it's so important that you remember these details that no one is ever going to ask you about, by the way. So don't listen to your brain. Do the sequence and allow those thoughts, which are wonderful and meant to keep you alive. And we love you, brain. But it's time for you to move to the outside and for me to move up and out so that I can have restfulness. And in the end, your brain will thank you. Okay. Do you guys have any questions before I go through the actual activity? No? Okay, great. So that first thing that we're going to do is we are going to tap into our nervous system. So that very first thing is we're going to hold our sitting up. You can do this laying down, but I'm sitting up, so we're going to do it sitting up. You're going to move your neck to the side, so ear to the shoulder. And as you do that, you're going to look up and to the right, so that you're looking out the corner of your eye. And you're just going to hold this for 30 seconds. It's not a terribly long time, but you're going to hold it just like that. Allow yourself to breathe. If you need to breathe a little deeper or you feel yourself wanting to yawn, that's okay. Just allow yourself to feel whatever you feel from this activity and give it your full 30 seconds. And then after 30 seconds, you can come to the center again. And again, you're going to go ear to shoulder and eyes out the corner of your eye. So up and to the left. And allow yourself to feel that. Just looking up. Super simple. We're working with the vagus nerve here, which is a central nerve in the nervous system. And a whole bunch of things will automatically happen for you when you do this. You absolutely can do this for longer than 30 seconds, but you don't need to under these circumstances. So don't feel bad if you stood there for a minute. It's all right. You may feel after about 30 seconds a release in your lower back, in your mid back, in the back of your brain, and you can release that now. If you have any water handy, this is a really good time to drink it. Mm-hmm. Great. So next you are going to lay down in your bed when you're ready to go to sleep, right? You're going to lay down. And if you can do it right in order, that's going to be beneficial to you because you just kind of prepped your body, right? You told it everything is okay. There are no emergencies. That's what we did with that movement with our eyes and our head and our neck. So once you've done that, then you go ahead and you lay down. And you want to breathe nice, diaphragmatic breathing. So allow your belly to push out. Nobody's looking. Nobody cares if you're wearing a bikini, right? So just allow the diaphragm to move down, the belly to move out of the way, and your full lungs to fill up. You don't have to work hard at this. Should be a natural movement. If it starts out not very deep, but you continue to just allow your diaphragm to move, it will become deeper and deeper, right? So the way that the lungs fill up is that the diaphragm, this is a muscle, actually moves downward. So this is the activity that creates the space for the air above. So this activity is what opens the lungs. The lungs themselves don't actually, there's no way for them to open on their own. They have to be pulled outward like an accordion with a hand, right? So that's what your diaphragm is doing. That's why you got to stick your belly out of the way. Unlike what all those ballet teachers taught you when you were little, or at least that's what they taught me. Okay, so you're going to do that while you're laying down, and you're going to allow yourself to focus on your body. Now, most people think that what you're going to do is say, okay, here I am. I'm going to focus on my toes, and now I'm going to focus on my arches, and now I'm going to focus on my ankles. No, don't scan. Relax and allow yourself to feel your entire body at once. And if you think that thought over and over again, feel my entire body, nice and slowly like that, you'll be able to sense that there's something different in your energy. For me, my whole body feels very activated, very excited when I do that. And resist the temptation to focus in on a sensation. So what will happen sometimes is you'll be laying there, you'll feel your whole body, you'll go like, oh, I haven't felt that part of my calf in a while. And all of a sudden you're focused in on a space, but you want to be broad in your focus. Okay, because what we're working on is disperse attention. So this ability for your brain to go from very specific focus to broad focus, and to be able to do that over and over again, really important to your ability to control your experience in this world. So this is how we manage emotions. This is how we manage physicality and physical pain. This skill in itself, this ability to move from very focused to very broad and backward at will, will serve you on multiple levels as you go forward. So that broadness is really a great thing. And the thing is, during those 3 minutes, you don't want to go out to the universe, right? You don't want to make it so broad. So we're really practicing something very specific, okay? Okay, so then we're going to get to that third piece, which really is our last 30 seconds is, right? So here you're going to make your attention very focused. So that first part of it, you're going to work very focused on locating your pineal gland. Now, I don't expect any of you to actually locate your pineal gland, okay? Because you probably didn't go to anatomy school, and the reality of it is that it's not all that important. What's important is that you can find the center of your brain. It's sort of up from the back of your throat. I mean, the pineal gland itself is like if you drew a line between these 2 points and a line between this point and this point, you would kind of find it there. But it's not important that you locate that exact spot. What is important is that you reach for focusing what I call your consciousness. Okay, now this is just the word that I've always used. It's not something that's used broadly. For me, it's different from attention, but many people think of it as focusing your attention. Okay, so you actually move it up and into that center of your brain and see if you can just find that. If you do it for 30 seconds and you don't find it, but you're in there searching around going, well, I'm trying to get inside my brain, that's good enough, right? So keep practicing that. Okay, so 30 seconds there. And then you're just going to move your attention to the top of your head and above your head. So this is another more disperse feeling, focus than when we focused on the pineal gland. Okay, so first we're out here on the body, Then we focus in very tight, and then we focus up here. So different levels of focus in terms of disbursement. And then you drift away. And you can even say that to yourself. Allow yourself to just drift away. If your body calls to you, if your mind calls to you, allow yourself to drift away. They'll be okay. There's something really special that happens when we start to pay attention to the body and to reassure it that we're going to take care of it, right? And that's part of what that is that we're doing, both when we focus on the full body and inside our head and above our head, that what we're doing here is saying, I see you, body. I feel you. I know that you exist, and I know that you have needs, and I know that they will be met. And I'm here with you and for you, and I'm not going to ignore you, which is what we mostly try to do when we try to go to sleep. Or when we wake up in the middle of the night, right? You wake up, you got to go to the bathroom. You say, okay, I go off to the bathroom. You come back, you like this. Okay, right? So what do? We go like, we should ignore our body. But no. Yeah. The funny thing is, I know that when I long time ago, when I first started working with spiritual concepts, I felt like, why are we talking about the body? Like, I just can't wait to get out of this thing, I mean, let's talk about spirituality and all things like that. And in reality, the more that we can focus in and feel this human suit that we have, the easier it is for us to access all of the spirituality. So it's a funny duality, because it doesn't feel like they should go together, but it really does make accessing that spirit side much easier when we're willing to be present in our bodies. Then suddenly an extra little something comes in. So it's nice. It's nice. Okay, so Shelley, and anytime you want to wake up everybody, I want to. So you wake up and you feel like this. You feel under the mud, and it may happen even when you're not just woken up. Sometimes it happens midday, where you're like fine, everything's fine, and then all of a sudden it's like somebody put a big blanket over your head. So the first thing you want to do is to identify however you speak about that thing that is larger than you. So if you call that spirit, if you call that God, whatever you call that, okay, identify that word and say to yourself, it is time for me to allow you, spirit, in, and then tap on your head. And while you tap on your head, you're going to say, here, now, here, now, here, now. And then thank you. Okay. And if you can even I do it with 2 fingers. I did it with 3. I don't know why I did that, but with 2 fingers right in the center of your head. And you're going to hit kind of hard. It's kind of a hard thing that you do. Here, now, here, now, here, now. Thank you. And if you don't get there on that, go back to it and give yourself about 30 seconds in between and do it again and 3 times say, open, open, open. The reason that I say go ahead and invite in that thing that is more than you, all that is, whatever it is, is that this closing off, this feeling like it's got not enough space, we'll say, really does cut off the connection energetically. It cuts off the connection between the outflow of energy for you and the inflow of informational energy, right? So this is where all our good ideas come from, is right here, right? So energy moves this way, coming into the body, and energy moves this way, going up and out of the body. So you want to open up this inner channel here. if open works better than here now for you, then just skip to that. It's fine. You can do either or both. It's very fast. It's very easy. Within about 5 minutes after doing it, you should feel a significant difference, sometimes like right away. And honestly, I had somebody do it to me. I had another energy worker do it to me. It wasn't something that I knew. And I went to Colorado 15 years ago or so for training. And I got there and I was just not able to, that thing where you're like this and you're like, I don't know what's wrong with me. Yeah, I think these methods are going to be really good for you. Last week I did one that I am making into a PDF and a video. So eventually that was on anxiety, and eventually that will be available to you as well. I think the list of people who show up for this, I'm not even going to ask you to re-sign up. I'll just send it to you guys so that, we just have it in one of our announcements or something. It obviously all this graphic stuff takes time, so it won't be tomorrow, but it will be sometime in the next couple of weeks, and so hopefully that'll be helpful for you too, because you're absolutely right that finding ways to come back to the center when you're in the hyper state or the down state is really important. So opening this up when you're in that zombie state is really important. I will say, I am not a nutritionist and I'm not giving nutritional advice at this moment. However, I will say that a little bit of blackstrap molasses in warm water, and sip that for, you don't need much, just a teaspoon in a bit of water. If you like it, good for you. Drink it a lot. If you don't like it, like I'm not a fan, then just drink the amount that you need to drink. But if you do that, it provides a lot of the B vitamins that sometimes have to do with why we feel that sense of closure. So a lot of times there's a physical thing happening for us, and those B vitamins can be a big part of it. So blackstrap molasses, when you feel like that, is also a great thing in addition to that energy piece that I just
the B vitamins.
Yeah, B vitamins. If you take vitamins, B12 and B complex are really important. The blackstrap molasses is cool because it's got a lot of vitamin C in it. It's just got a lot of things in it that it's a very cool solution. And I don't know about you, but my bottle of blackstrap molasses lasts a really long time in that cabinet. So it's always around, And for some reason, they do suggest, and I haven't looked into the nutritional profile of them or anything, but they do suggest the blackstrap molasses. Something about the way that's made provides the most amount of vitamins or something. My late husband used to make his mother's recipe, which I love that I get to mention because I never gave her credit when he was around, so I'll give her credit now. Of these blackstrap molasses cookies. And they were essentially a basic cookie, a cakey cookie with blackstrap molasses and lemon juice. It makes the molasses taste way better.
Ooh.
It like cuts the maltiness of it or something. It's a really good combination. All right, you guys. I think this, if you guys have any questions, I'm happy to answer them now, but I think we've covered quite a lot today. This is really great. You'll see as time goes on that I'll be introducing more and more to help you guys make community around this. I think that for me, this period of loss that I went through really, it solidified that with these tools you can walk through fire and be okay, and so I really shifted my feelings about like I gotta get this out to people and I gotta give people practical tools, because this is the stuff that lets you go through life and not feel like crap. And then yeah, then you can get to a place where you can have a different relationship with your lost loved one, or you can have a different relationship with your work life, or right? But until you kind of are able to do these things, for me anyway, these are the beginning. These are the thing that I leaned on in the last year.